If I asked you to name, the most lucrative, rapidly expanding recurring revenue business in Europe right now, your mind would probably go straight to the tech sector.
Right, like enterprise software or cloud computing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe some new AI startup.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't guess the automated coin-operated dog wash sitting out in the parking lot of your local supermarket.
Yeah, definitely not the first thing that comes to mind.
But today, we are unpacking the freshly released H1 2026 interim results for MEGP Group International PlanSAC. And this covers the 6 months up to April 30th, 2026.
Which is a fascinating document, truly.
It really is. The mission for our deep dive today is to explore how a company built on what most of us consider to be, well, completely mundane legacy technology like photo booths and self-service washing machines is quietly running an absolute masterclass in corporate strategy.
Yeah, hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. We are looking at massive cash generation,
Yeah.
the navigation of global geopolitics, and honestly, a total reinvention of consumer convenience.
And just to establish a baseline for what we are analyzing today, ME Group is an absolute titan of automated self-service equipment. It really is an incredible operational footprint when you look at the raw scale.
Right. We're not talking about a few machines here and there.
No, not at all. We are looking at an active deployment of nearly 50,000 vending units across 16 different countries.
50,000. Wow.
Yeah. And what's crucial to understand is that these aren't just, standalone dumb metal boxes. This entire global network is supported by an in-house team of over 100 engineers.
Oh, wait, really? 100 engineers just for vending machines?
Yeah, working across 2 dedicated R&D centers, they take the hardware incredibly seriously.
Okay, let's unpack this because the numbers in this H1 report reveal a business that is fundamentally rewiring its own DNA. And you see it right at the top of the income statement.
You really do.
So overall, group revenue was up slightly, just 0.3%, landing at a very healthy 154.3 million pounds.
Right. Solid top line.
And EBITDA climbed 7.1% to 57 million pounds. But the most important metric, the one that signals their entire grand strategy, is actually a negative number.
Yeah, this is the part that jumps off the page.
Their revenue from the direct sale of equipment dropped by 14.2%.
And that is the defining pivot of their business model. That double-digit drop in equipment sales is not like a failure of their sales pipeline or a lack of market demand.
Right, it's intentional.
Highly deliberate. It is a structural choice by the board to stop handing over the keys to these machines.
Which fundamentally changes how you have to evaluate the company.
Yeah.
If we look at this through a modern business lens, it's the exact same transition we saw when the tech industry moved from, selling perpetual CD-ROM software licenses to selling monthly cloud subscriptions.
Yep, the SaaS model.
Exactly. This is vending as a service. They are looking at a supermarket or a transit authority and saying, we don't want to sell you this machine for a one-time margin. We want to own the machine, we will maintain it, and we will capture the lifetime value of every single transaction.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture of their financial health, that strategy of owning the underlying asset is heavily paying off in their core operating profitability.
Because they keep all the upside.
Exactly. Because they capture that full transaction value, their EBITDA margin has improved to an incredibly strong 36.9%.
That's huge.
In a hardware-heavy, physical footprint business, approaching a 40% margin is remarkable. Now, if you are looking closely at the full P&L in the report, you will notice that their overall profit before tax did dip slightly.
Oh, right. It was down 3.8% to 32.7 million pounds.
Yeah, but the mechanics behind that pre-tax dip actually validate the strategy.
Because the accounting reality changes, right?
Completely. When you transition to a vending as a service model, your balance sheet shifts. If you sell 1,000 machines, you get an immediate revenue spike.
But if you keep them.
Right. If you decide to keep those 1,000 machines and operate them yourself, you are now carrying the massive capital expenditure of building them.
So that means significantly higher depreciation charges eating into your pre-tax profit over time.
Precisely. Plus, the report notes they didn't have a £1.6 million one-off property gain that temporarily boosted their numbers in the previous year.
Okay, so the pre-tax profit dip is largely an accounting artifact of a company choosing long-term high-margin cash flow over short-term sales spikes.
Exactly. And that cash generation is undeniable when you look at how aggressively they are returning capital to their
Yeah,
shareholders,
back in March, they launched an 18 million pound share buyback program.
which is always a massive signal to the market.
Right. Management is essentially looking at their cash flow, looking at the market, and deciding the absolute best return on their capital is to bet on themselves, to buy up their own undervalued stock.
And on top of that buyback, they are maintaining a highly generous dividend policy. I mean, they returned 13.5 million pounds to shareholders just in this interim period alone.
That's just for the 6 months.
Yep. Their stated corporate policy is to seek to pay annual dividends in excess of 55% of annual profits after tax.
Wow. You do not commit to a 55% payout ratio unless you have extreme confidence in the predictability of your cash engine.
Exactly. You need rock-solid resilience in the underlying business to make that promise.
So, okay, the strategy is clearly to stop selling the hardware and instead own that recurring revenue.
Well,
But to make that vending as a service model actually work, you can't just rely on occasional impulse purchases, right?
no, you need utility, high-frequency utility.
Right. A machine that drives year-round footfall. And looking at this 2026 report, the absolute workhorse driving that recurring revenue isn't their legacy photo booths at all.
No, it's not.
The undisputed star of the show is laundry.
Yeah, the Wash.me brand is single-handedly transforming the revenue mix of the entire group. The growth trajectory is just staggering.
I mean, Wash.me vending revenue is up 16.3% in just this 6-month period.
Right, and it now accounts for 38.4% of the group's total vending revenue. But here is the most crucial statistic. Because of those high margins we discussed earlier, laundry now makes up 47% of the entire group's EBITDA.
Nearly half of their core earnings power is generated by outdoor washing machines.
Yeah. And the physical rollout is aggressively keeping pace with those financials. They installed 499 net new laundry machines in half a year.
And they're projecting to hit 1,300 new installations for the full fiscal year, right?
Yes. And to secure that kind of footprint, you need massive institutional partners. They just landed the largest single client deal in the history of the company with ASDA in the UK.
Oh, wow, ASDA.
Yeah, they are targeting up to 700 machines across ASDA supermarket sites. And they're also kicking off a new trial with Aldi and Hofer in Austria.
Plus, the digital integration is getting sticky. The Wash.me app just crossed 100,000 downloads in France alone.
It is a phenomenal scaling effort. But when you look at those installation numbers, it's really worth examining the underlying consumer behavior driving this demand.
Yeah, and I have to admit, this is where I get hung up, because we are analyzing highly developed markets here.
Right, the UK, France, Germany, Ireland.
Exactly. It's safe to assume the vast majority of consumers in these target demographics already have a washing machine inside their home or their apartment building.
The overwhelming majority do, yes.
So what is the behavioral driver? Why is a self-service laundromat pod, sitting out in the rain in a supermarket parking lot, suddenly the fastest growing cash cow for a multinational corporation?
It's a great question, and it really highlights the gap between perceived convenience and actual utility.
Yeah.
ME Group basically identified a few very specific, high-friction consumer needs that standard domestic machines just simply cannot solve.
Okay, like what?
Well, the first is raw capacity. These Wash.me units utilize commercial-grade 20-kilogram drums.
Ah, okay. The duvet problem.
Exactly.
Every time I try to force a winter duvet or like a heavy set of curtains into my home machine, it feels like I'm going to break the drum right off its axis.
We've all been there. Consumers are utilizing these outdoor units for bulky items, heavy seasonal transitions, or massive multi-load family washes that would normally take all weekend at home.
That makes a lot of sense.
But there's a secondary driver here that is highly relevant to the current European economic climate, and that's energy efficiency.
Oh, because of utility bills.
Yes. These rapid service commercial machines are highly efficient in their water and power usage. For consumers dealing with heavily elevated home utility costs, utilizing a high-efficiency commercial machine can actually be a cost-saving measure for those large loads.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from a behavioral economic standpoint, the placement at ASDA or Aldi is brilliant. It's called trip chaining.
Drip chaining. Right.
You don't have to make a dedicated separate trip to a dingy laundromat across town and sit in a plastic chair for 2 hours.
No, you load the massive 20-kilo drum in the parking lot, you go inside and do your weekly grocery shopping, and by the time you're checking out, your heavy laundry is done.
You are monetizing the dwell time that already exists.
Precisely. They're integrating into existing consumer habits rather than trying to create new ones. And the geographic data proves this thesis is working perfectly.
Yeah, in the UK and Republic of Ireland, which is currently their fastest growing laundry market, they saw a massive 24.5% jump in Wash.me revenue.
They have essentially found a blind spot in domestic appliance capability and built a highly profitable moat around it.
Okay, so laundry is clearly the growth engine. But ME Group's absolute legacy, the historical foundation of their entire operation, is photography.
The photomatons.
Right, the passport photo booths. So if laundry's capturing all the capital expenditure and all this real estate focus, how is that foundational part of the business holding up? Because usually when a company pivots this hard into a new vertical, the legacy business starts to bleed.
Yeah, that's the danger. But the Photo.me segment is a fascinating case study in managing a mature asset. It remains an absolute juggernaut.
Really, still.
Oh, yeah. It still contributes 47.7% of the group's EBITDA, meaning it is actually still slightly edging out laundry in total earnings contribution.
Wow, okay.
It is the cash cow funding the laundry expansion. However, the report is very transparent that the photo division is facing some very real complex headwinds. The actual vending revenue for photos saw a 6.2% decline.
And the reasons for that decline are a mix of macro and micro factors, right?
Yes, exactly.
On the micro level, there were regulatory changes in Germany regarding how official photo IDs can be digitally processed, so that temporarily disrupted their volume there.
Yep.
And the Japanese photo booth market is experiencing a structural long-term shrinkage. Plus, they also cycled out of a fairly large, though notably low-margin contract in the UK back in April 2025.
All true. But there's another much broader factor detailed in the report, and it's a brilliant example of how even the most localized, mundane consumer behavior is intimately tied to the global geopolitical stage.
Yeah, the sensitivity of consumer spending to global anxiety.
Exactly.
The report notes that early in the half-year period, specifically in April, revenue softened significantly due to a highly cautious consumer environment. And this was particularly acute in France, which remains their largest and most profitable overall market.
And if you look at management's assessment in the financial review, they explicitly tie this April dip in French consumer confidence directly to heightened geopolitical uncertainties surrounding the ongoing conflict in the Middle East.
Right. And just to pause here for everyone listening, we are simply conveying the company's stated analysis of their April trading numbers exactly as they reported it. We aren't endorsing viewpoints or taking sides. This is purely management's explanation for the data in the source material.
Absolutely. It's their assessment of the market conditions. But it is a striking correlation to see in a corporate earnings report. It highlights how consumer psychology operates on a subconscious level.
Right, because taking a passport photo isn't an emergency.
Exactly. Updating an ID is an administrative chore. It's a low-cost task, usually tied to future travel or future planning. When global uncertainty spikes, people feel anxious, they pull back on discretionary spending, and they simply delay those minor administrative tasks. They hunker down.
But the flip side of that psychological effect is that the demand isn't destroyed, right? It's merely deferred.
Yeah.
Because the report also notes that just 1 month later, by May 2026, they saw a sharp, immediate recovery. Total vending revenue jumped 11.1% over May 2025. The anxiety lifted slightly, and the deferred administrative tasks flooded back into the system.
Which brings us to the core operational challenge for ME Group's management. You have a legacy division that is highly sensitive to macroeconomic shocks, operating in a slightly shrinking total addressable market, but it is currently generating nearly half of your earnings.
Right, you can't abandon it.
No, but you also can't expect it to grow top-line revenue by 20% a year anymore.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If you look at this through a classic business strategy matrix, the photo booth business is your textbook cash cow. It's mature, it's not going to win any speed records, but it pays the bills, and it funds your new speedboat, which is laundry.
Yes, the cruise ship and the speedboat. So the strategy shifts entirely from chasing revenue growth to ruthlessly optimizing your operational margins.
And that defensive optimization strategy is exactly what they are executing. They are actively retrofitting the fleet.
They're aggressively rolling out what they classify as next-generation photo booths.
Right. They currently have over 4,362 of these next-gen booths installed, and the capital allocation plan is to roll out 200 more every single month.
And the economics behind those next-gen booths are vital to understand. It's not just about, adding a better camera or a nicer touchscreen for the user.
No, it's under the hood.
The engineering focus is entirely on the back-end operations. These new booths are designed with significantly lower maintenance requirements.
And that is the key lever. I mean, when you are managing 50,000 decentralized physical units, your highest operating expense isn't electricity.
Not at all.
It's sending a human technician in a van to fix a jammed coin slot or a broken printer.
Exactly. By deploying machines that break down less often and require less physical servicing, your operational expenditure plummets. So even if the total volume of consumers taking photos drops by 5%, the company is extracting a significantly higher profit margin from every single transaction that does occur.
They are essentially wringing more net cash out of a declining market purely through superior hardware engineering.
It's a brilliant margin expansion play. You optimize the legacy cash cow to fund the high-growth laundry engine.
But here is where the story of MEGP Group takes a turn into the truly unexpected, because you have a company with two massive established verticals. But as we mentioned earlier, they also have over 100 R&D engineers on payroll.
Right.
What does an engineering team of that size do to capture the next wave of consumer footfall?
They meticulously analyze the physical space they already control, and they look for the next adjacent consumer need. If you have a captive, high-intent audience standing in front of your machines, what else can you frictionlessly offer them?
Well, the report outlines a whole suite of what they categorize as ancillary activities, and some of them make immediate sense.
Like the printing.
Yeah, you have print.me, which are digital printing kiosks. You have amuse.me, which operates those interactive children's rides you see at shopping centers. But then you have feed.me, which I found fascinating.
The juice machines.
Yes, they have 432 machines currently deployed, mostly in Japan and Australia, that mechanically squeeze fresh orange juice on demand.
It's a massive hit in those markets.
And then there was one innovation in this report that genuinely made me stop and reread the paragraph.
The dog wash rollout.
Yes, the dog wash. Following what they deemed a highly successful trial period, they have officially installed 200 fully automated dog wash machines across France, the UK, and the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, 200 units.
Now, I have to push back on this from an operational standpoint. You have a company known for printing passports and washing heavy duvets. Suddenly, they're dealing with the logistics of sourcing fresh citrus in Japan and managing wet dog hair in Irish parking lots.
It sounds chaotic.
Right. From the outside, that sounds like a maintenance nightmare. I mean, a digital photo booth doesn't rot. Oranges rot. Dog hair clogs, drains. Are they just throwing spaghetti at the wall here? From passports to duvets to golden retrievers.
It looks incredibly random if you view them purely as a machine manufacturing company. This raises an important question about how we classify their fundamental business model. Because if you look at the economics, it's not random at all. MEGP Group is not actually in the machine business.
Okay. What business are they in?
They are in the micro real estate business.
Oh, wow, that framing changes everything. They are in the land grab business.
Precisely. Look closely at the commercial contracts detailed in the report. They just renewed massive, multi-year operating contracts with SNCF and RATP in France.
All right, those are 5- and 7-year exclusive contracts,
Yes.
respectively.
Yes, these are the colossal national and regional transit authorities in France. Securing those contracts essentially grants MEGP Group a monopoly on the most heavily trafficked pedestrian real estate in the country.
And those French transit contracts alone represent a locked-in minimum of over £9 million of revenue.
And they're executing the exact same playbook with retail giants like Carrefour, Tesco, Shell, and ASDA.
So the hardest part of the entire business isn't building the machine.
No.
The hardest part is surviving the bureaucratic bidding war to win that highly coveted 10 by 10 square of concrete in a train station or a supermarket entrance.
Yes. And then securing the municipal permits to run heavy-duty power and water lines to that specific square of concrete.
Right. The barrier to entry for a competitor is astronomical once those water and power lines are laid and the 7-year exclusivity contract is signed.
Exactly. Once MEGP Group secures that physical real estate, The actual machine they put on top of it, whether it's a dog wash, a photo booth, or an orange juice press, is simply the monetization layer.
The hardware is just the final mile.
The goal of the R&D department isn't just to invent fun machines. It is to engineer solutions that maximize the financial return on every single square foot of secured real estate.
Because you have a deeply captive audience. I mean, the person waiting 45 minutes for their 20-kilo laundry load to finish is a completely captive demographic.
Absolutely. They might buy a fresh orange juice while they wait.
Or the person getting a passport photo might pay for their toddler to go on an Amuse ME ride just to keep them quiet for 5 minutes.
Exactly. And the person coming back from a muddy weekend hike with their dog is already stopping at ASDA for groceries, so they utilize the automated dog wash before putting the muddy dog back in their clean car.
It is an intricate web of cross-selling basic conveniences.
And that is why the engineering team is so vital. Yes, an orange juice machine or a dog wash introduces complex new maintenance vectors like organic waste or clogged drains. But the R&D centers are tasked with engineering the friction out of those exact processes.
Right, fixing the nightmare before it happens.
They design automated self-cleaning cycles, remote telemetry monitoring, and predictive maintenance sensors so that the human technician only has to visit the machine when it is absolutely necessary.
It's about maximizing revenue per site while aggressively minimizing operational expenditure.
That's the whole game.
So what does this all mean? When we step back and look at the totality of this H1 2026 report, what does this mean for you listening? ME Group is really providing a masterclass in dynamic corporate evolution.
They truly are.
I mean, they recognized early that relying on one-time hardware sales is a brutal, low-margin grind. So they absorbed the short-term accounting hits and transitioned the entire company to a recurring revenue vending-as-a-service model.
And they practically acknowledged that their highly profitable legacy photo business was maturing, so they engineered lower maintenance booth to extract higher margins from a shrinking user base.
Right. They took that cash flow and found a massive, unaddressed consumer need in outdoor large-capacity laundry, creating a brand-new growth engine. And they leveraged their historical relationships to capture premium monopolistic real estate contracts with mega retailers and national transit hubs.
It's an airtight strategy.
And they're continuously deploying their R&D weight to find the next frictionless service, like a dog wash or fresh juice, to stack onto that real estate. They have built an incredibly resilient, high-margin, cash-generating empire hiding in plain sight.
They really have.
The next time you walk past a glowing Wash.me pod at a gas station or hear a photo booth printing in a train station, you won't just see a metal box. You'll see an intricate node in a highly optimized global real estate and logistics network humming right beneath the surface of everyday life.
It's a brilliant execution of infrastructure as a service. And I'll leave you with a final thought to ponder, something that builds on the digital integration we touched on earlier.
Oh, yeah.
We saw the rapid success of the Wash.me mobile app hitting 100,000 downloads in France. That app is establishing a direct digital relationship with the consumer. So as these automated physical kiosks become increasingly integrated with our smartphones and digital wallets, what happens when predictive analytics and AI fully merge with this massive physical footprint?
Okay, that is where the scale of this becomes slightly mind-bending.
Think about it. ME Group currently operates 50,000 decentralized nodes of data collection across 16 countries. They know exactly when a neighborhood does its laundry, when they travel, and when they wash their pets.
Wow.
As they feed that hyperlocal behavioral data into predictive models, could these automated hubs eventually anticipate a neighborhood's exact micro-needs before the residents even realize they have them?
That's entirely possible.
Right. Will the localized network of the future automatically dynamically price an orange juice based on the local weather forecast? Or send you a push notification for a dog wash discount right as you pull into the supermarket parking lot after a rainy weekend?
The invisible machinery of everyday life is no longer just static hardware. It is learning, it's adapting, and it's getting exponentially smarter.
Exactly.
The physical world is slowly becoming an algorithm. It's a wild thought.
Mm.
Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll catch you next time.